All right, we're live in studio. Another episode of Real Talk with Ian and Ian. So, guys, we're just so happy to come back again. I know we have on early on today, but don't get that mistake. We are energized and we're ready to go. Because we're bringing a second 800-meter legend on. We have one of the greatest high school 800-meter runners early on. Now you guys are going to hear and see this man is the first man to win a medal internationally at a world championship for Jamaica. So you guys gonna get in the history books right now, and you're gonna hear from the man himself. He's a two-time Olympian. He is a Hall of Famer. He's a coach. And he's gonna tell you a lot more about himself. So just want to say a pleasant good afternoon again, good evening to all the viewers. In North Carolina, in Jamaica, anywhere you at right now. We're just happy and we know that, we're going to educate, motivate, and inspire you tonight with a real story, success story. So we got the man over to the right here. He's been working overtime. We're just happy that, he's, did take one of these power nap and his 30-minute sleep. As you know, he's a healthcare specialist, so he knows how to get rejuvenated to do a second shift. So welcome, Mr. Ian Thomas. The platform is over to you. Introduce yourself and just tell us how your day has been going, sir.
All right, guys. So, as you guys know, it's Ian and Ian. So, you have Ian Weekly and Ian Thomas. Basically, those who know me as a cricketer. Most of my life, was spent playing cricket, even though started out early with athletics. But, as life prolonged, injury prone, and I had to transition. But I was able to keep the cricket going. I tell mommy I can't drop all the sports. I would just continue with cricket. And the reason why I dropped the track and field, it was challenging. So I have to give it up to these guys here, these two Olympians who stick with the sports, and have made it to the very top. Every athlete would have aspired to become an Olympian. And this afternoon, I could not be more proud to be in the company of two Olympians. But this afternoon, I am very proud, to bring on this gentleman, Clive Terrelonge, double Olympian, so not once, but twice. And I know that must have taken some work. And with that, we decided that we'll bring him on here and he'll share his story. So, guys, all our audience, we welcome you back to the program. We know it's like we're just on a minute ago, and we're back already in the house. So we just want you guys to participate because, as Ian would say, how was my day? It was a very long day. I've been out there all day on the cricket field. We had a US Open tournament today. I was privileged to be in the company of Christopher Gale yesterday, Andre Russell, and some of my fellow state students also today, and the Gale team won the championship. And man, he got himself even a 1.5 acre land here in the US. So we may see Christopher Henry Gale here in the US. Man, that was something to win. He was the man of the championship. And they take it home. So it was a very long day, but I'm just privileged that because of the sports, I was able to be a part of something big. And I'm not gonna have any more delay. So, Mr. Terrelonge, we just want to say, man, welcome to the platform, and just tell the people where it all began for you, man. That's it. I know Ian normally do this, but I'm gonna let you start it out. Where it all began for you.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Long day of working, and you with your cricketing, and Ian with his interviewing. You guys are doing great work. I've been watching some of you, the program and the interviews. But for me, all began in Jamaica. We were born and grew. That's where it all began. I'm from St. Andrew, Jamaica, place called Temple Hall, up in the hills. My grandmother live with my grandmother in Zion Hill. So I am like a lion in Zion. So, but Zion Hill, Templar, I come from Stone Hill era, Lawrence Davin era, but that's where the humble beginning start. So.
All right, just before we even get any further, I just said to you, just if you were to give a shout out to some of the people, that were there for you in those tender age, who would you give that shout out to, from Zion Hill or Temple Hill?
Zion Hill, which is a Templar. So
okay,
yeah, I think it's more my family. My grandmother, which she was the matriarch of the family, strongest woman I know in my life, and the rest of my family, my uncles, my aunt that I grew up with, my cousins. But I think probably one of the things that I don't tell a lot of people, one of my uncle actually got me started running. And when I say he got me started running, he didn't get me started putting me on a track now or anything like that. What my uncle realized is that there was I have another cousin that is a month older than me. So we grew up together like brothers in my grandmother's house. And my uncle used to send us to the store to go get his beer. Because in Jamaica, you can send a kid go get beer and the red stripe or, anything. You can sell a kid go get alcohol. That's no problem in Jamaica. So he used to send us go get his beer and his cigarette sometimes. Go to the gas station to go get his things, which was, I would say, at the time, I thought it was a long way, but it's probably about a mile and a half to 2 miles away. And what happened when my uncle sent me by myself, I always come back quick. When he sent me and my cousin, we don't come back that quick. And when he sent my cousin alone, he doesn't come back that quick either. So my uncle used to say, all right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to spit on the stone in the yard. And he spit on the stone and I say, more I'm a beer, more I'm a cigarette before the spit dry. Because if it spit dry and come back with the beer, you're in trouble. You understand? You understand? So I beaten that. So me now took it on myself, say, look, I don't want to beaten. So what I'm going to do, I am going to run to gas station and run back. And half the way of that, is uphill, because I say Zion Hill. So when you say Zion Hill, you must think it's a climb, because Zion, you're climbing. So going up Zion Hill, is not an easy thing. So, I took it on myself, say, I'm going to run as much as I can down and back up the hill to get my uncle his beer before the spit dry.
Never heard that one before, boy.
Yeah.
Before I turn you over to Ian, I want to ask one question. I was in man that them used to send go a shop to, But
yeah.
Did you bring back the change?
I had to bring back the change, but you know what? The other side of it, my uncle Algan, he was very tough, but he was also very fair too. So if I do my job and do it well and come back before spit dry, he might make me keep the change. You understand? and I want the change. So guess what I'm doing? I'm running. Yeah. So at age 5, 6, 7, 8, that's how I kind of got into running. That's kind of always started for me, and I don't tell a lot of people that story, but that's kind of how it got started for me. And then the other side of it is going to primary school, and you have the sports day where you have to do the running and thing, and people start recognizing, hey, this little kid have some speed and can move.
All right. Well, with that speed and can move, I'm just gonna turn it right over to you.
Man. Hey, Clive, I never heard that one before, so I'm gonna take note of it, man. That one is is definitely original. That that was a tips right now. So I know you're not using that one. It's
No, no,
I
I need
know
to go
you're a
back to
coach
Jamaica.
that.
I need to go back to Jamaica to use that one. Not hard enough where I am to use that one.
All right. All right. Well, I'm just going to move right along with the vibes that I'm having right now. So what age when did you actually say, man, I think I could keep running. I'm good at this. At one point in your life, then you just realize that, you know what? I am making it back to the shop very fast. And, I probably could, I don't think nobody could catch me if they try to chase me.
Well, I never really said that. That wasn't even a part of my mind. It just getting my uncle the things that he wanted as fast as I could, and so I didn't get in trouble. That's basically was it. Because when you as a local youngster in Jamaica, you have to travel that far to go to the store. You're gonna see other youngsters that and they're gonna want to stop you, and they want to play some football, kick some rocks, and ride some skate, and do whatever you want to do, and that could get you in trouble. So what I did, I had to bypass all that to get my uncle the things that he want. I think for me, when it started in track was, like I said, in field day in school in Lawrence Tavern Primary. I had a teacher. I think he was dating, or he was friends with the Stony Hill All-Age school coach, track and field coach, which is Michael Carr. Michael Carr went on to be Woma's girls coach, Woma's coach after a while, but after he left Stony Hill. But she was friends with Michael. So she told Mr. Carr, said, hey, I have this little kid. He's really small, but he's really fast. You should have him, run on your team. So I didn't know that Michael Carr know my aunt. My aunt was working in Stony Hill Square at the time. She was involved in politics, and they had an office, the PMP office of a Stony Hill, and that's what she did. She was a councilwoman, and she knew Michael because he coached. He was coaching at Stony Hill all age, coaching kids, and he was also a good football player in the area. So everybody know Mikey, the baller and the coach, the track coach. So she was friends with him, and so he talked to her about having me come into Stony Hill from Lawrence Town Primary to come to Stony Hill so I can be a part of the team there at Stony Hill. And that's kind of how it all started for me. And, we talk about it, and then wind up going to Stony Hill and join the team.
All right, good. So we know that you're running the primary school, did a little bit of running. What was the next step in your career? Did you actually what high school did you go to, and how did you or your running career continue?
Well, from Stony Hill, there's my mother was trying to migrate from Jamaica for a number of years, and I knew that was going on. And I knew that if she migrated, she wanted me to go with her. She wasn't going to leave me. I'm her only child. She wasn't trying to leave me in Jamaica. But when you don't come from a rich family, I would say, in Jamaica, it's hard to get a visa to get out of Jamaica, and you need a sponsor and all that thing. So after all age, I was with Mr. Carr and run on some sprint relay 4x1 and go to all age champs and thing. And then, we migrated to Florida after that. So I wind up finishing my last couple of years of high school in Orlando, Florida, at Maynard Evans in Orlando, Florida.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, that's an interesting story. So we're just going to keep it going along. So now you transition to the U.S. and obviously, you're probably just a young teenager. You're just kind of checking things out and all of that. So you probably didn't take track serious. I mean, I said you could correct me, but what did you actually run in high school? Did you actually try any sport out, or did you play basketball, football? Did you do any other thing? What was the transition like from Jamaica? What were you doing during that time when you came over?
So,
Um, I think you're freezing up a little bit. Not sure if you're on the type of internet they're having now, but yeah, you're like you're going in and out. But go ahead. You look like your service is going in and out. Um, yeah. What's Ian?
Yeah, I'm hearing you clearly.
Yeah. Okay. Clive, we are not hearing you right now.
you
You're
can't hear me?
Yeah, you're
we're,
good.
you're here. You seem like you're having some, a little break in between. So you was freeze up for a little bit. Go ahead now.
Okay. I think you was asking. Repeat the question because you were freezing too.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The question that I was asking you. So how was your transition over in the U.S. in terms of adjusting to the high school, and were you playing any sports, or you were just going to school at the time?
The adjustment was pretty severe at the time because I never traveled anywhere before I left Jamaica and come to the US. And I was playing sport. I continued to run in track and playing soccer for the high school. Um, wasn't to be honest, wasn't very good at track. When I was in Jamaica, I was a little bit better. I think when I came to the US, I started growing a little bit. And that little turnover, a little short kid with a little quick turnover turned to a more of a taller kid with a bigger stride. So it was not the same for me, but I continued on the track. But I didn't, once I left Jamaica, I think when I was in Jamaica, I took track serious. Want to be the fastest, want to be, be on the relay, want to, go to stadium, go run. The big deal at that time is being able to go to champs, go to stadium, go run. So I want to go to stadium, go run. I want to leave country and go to stadium, go run. When I came over here, I didn't think they take track that serious. So I didn't really take it that serious. I think I took actually playing soccer probably a little bit more serious than track. But I did both in high school. And like I said, I wasn't very good at it at the time. And I changed events because in Jamaica, I was basically running 100, 200. And when I came to the US, the coach said, well, we have people that can run 100 and 200 way faster than you. So you need to run the 400. So, okay, I tried the 400. And then my senior year, he said, well, you're still not that good in the 400. Let's move up to the 800. It's like, it's almost the reverse of Jamaica. Jamaica will say, let's move you down. If you run the 800, they say, let's move you down to the 400. It is the reverse. For me, they want to move me up. I tell them I run the 100 and 200. They say, no, you're too slow. Go 400. So my senior year, I ended up running the 800. And again, wasn't very good at it. Didn't like the pain of the 800. I just didn't, and I didn't know how to run the event either. So that's how the thing just coming into it. So, coming through high school, it wasn't like I was like one of the top athletes or anybody who could say, oh yeah, we know that kid, we want that kid or anything. So.
Okay. Well, awesome. We're gonna get into the real story, man. We're not gonna stick around. Let us know real quick, Clive. I mean, Lincoln Lions.
Yeah.
I mean, in Pennsylvania, you're in Florida. How did
Yeah.
you end up all the way in Pennsylvania to the Lincoln Lions? Tell us how that story's come together.
Yeah. Well, fortunately for me, my high school coach went to Florida A&M. My college coach, the Lincoln coach, also went to Florida A&M. There was roommate at one time at Florida A&M. So there was some guys from my high school that went to Lincoln University. So when I came here to Jamaica, there was one guy particularly on the team. He was one of the best 400 runner in the state of Florida. And he wound up going to Lincoln University. And I remember him coming back like during the winter break, and he had on the Lincoln gear and he's training. I'm like, wait a minute, if this guy is that good. And they say Lincoln is not a big school, because I never heard of Lincoln. I heard of the Florida. I wanted to go. First of all, I'm coming from Jamaica. Only been over here for a few years. They say Pennsylvania. I say, that's cold. I don't want to go there. I think of Florida State, Miami, Texas, anywhere that's warm, send me there. But no one from there would look at me. One of my teammates, Johnny Cruz, in high school was also a good 400 runner. We were graduating together, and he was a good friend of mine, my best friend at the time. I say at the time, like he's my best friend. But anyway, but my high school coach, my college coach wanted him. So, and he also was a wrestler. And Lincoln University had a good wrestling team at the time, and he was one of the state top wrestlers. So the coach looked at it like, if I get this kid, he could be a track star and a big time college wrestler for the university. So I kind of taught my way into that situation. Like, well, if you're taking Johnny, you might as well take me too, And my high school coach kind of taught my college coach into taking me too. It's like, yeah, I got this little Jamaican kid. I don't know what he can do, but if you come with Johnny, you can, they'll help each other, because they're going to be far away from home, both of them. So.
All right. So you follow your best friend that was a wrestler. So how did that go? Did you get a scholarship, or you just wanted to go to school?
No, there was no scholarship. Like I said, even if I was fast enough to get scholarship, I wouldn't. I wasn't fast enough to get scholarship. Let's just start there, first of all. So even if there was scholarship money available, I wouldn't have gotten any. So no, but like I said, Johnny Cruz, he was a good 400 runner, one of the best in the state of Florida, and a good wrestler. So, for the coach to get him was, it was good. And then me, it was just like a little bonus. So I kind of followed him, and, we went there together, and the coach told me he believed in me. And that's kind of basically how it started. He just told me that he believed in me, he believed I could be good. And, I said, well, if this man believe in me and he don't know me, why don't I believe in myself? And I just kind of changed how I think and how I train. My coach could tell me run through a wall, and I would never ask him a question. Right. My coach would tell me to do something at 100%. You say there's no such thing as 110%. Well, I push whatever 100% is beyond 100%.
Man, this story is, I'm just so excited, because a lot of times, I went to George Mason Division I school. We had a good program, but I mean, for you to go to a Division III school, as and to you, just looking back at it now, I mean, and I know you probably know the answer for that. Would you have done anything different? If things were different coming out of high school?
Nope. You know the answer to that. No, there is no way. I'm gonna tell you a quick little story, and going to a Division I school in the U.S., things work. So by my sophomore year, I was running, pretty fast. I mean, my freshman year, I lost 13 seconds in the 800, 13 seconds in 1 year in the 800, 6 seconds off the 400. So that's a lot of time. That's a lot of time off any event. No matter how slow you are, that's still a lot of time. So I remember my freshman year, went back to Florida. My coach always we don't go, as a Division III school, we don't go to Division III meets. We run against the big boys. We don't think about, it was amazing when I went to Lincoln, because we don't think of ourselves as Division III athletes. We think of ourselves as track and field athletes in college. My coach said everybody put on their pants one leg at a time, and we believe it. It doesn't matter what school you go to. You go to Florida, we don't care. You go to George Mason, we used to race against George Mason all the time. You go to George Mason, indoor meet, outdoor meet. George Mason, it doesn't matter. Georgetown, Texas, it doesn't matter who they were. My coach wanted us to compete against the best. So I went to relay, and we were
we don't want to miss the story right now. You know, I'm gonna have to ask Clive to rewind a little bit. He's having a little yeah. I'm gonna have to ask you to rewind. You kind of pause a little bit, you know, so rewind that a little bit again and tell us about
I was saying that, you know, Michael, we did not look at ourselves as a Division III school because we didn't compete against Division III athletes. My coach would compete against. We had meets at George Mason. We run against George Mason. We go to the indoor meet, outdoor meet, Florida, Texas. It doesn't matter. We run against. My coach wanted us to run against the best. When we go to nationals, it will be like a breeze for us. There will be no one being scared because we have competed against the best in the country. So my freshman year, my coach took us to Florida relays, and we always go to Florida relay. We were in the championship section. We were in the section right before the championship section. However, because there was a rain delay at Florida relays, some couple of teams got they left the competition, and there was a lane open, and we wind up taking the lane. They wind up bumping us up to the championship section, and we were in lane 9. Florida track has 9 lanes, so we were in lane 9, and I'm running lead off leg, and I wanted to test myself. This is my first big test outdoor to see what I can do against, you know, the big time runners. And I let off that 4x4, and I remember in lane 9 when I run around the current turn, gave the baton off to my teammate, and I turned and looked back down the track to see who gave the baton. There was no one, and we was in there with everybody. Florida, Georgia Tech at that time had a tremendous 4x4. They had 2 Olympians on there, Derek Atkins and Mills. I can't remember what Derek Mills and Derek Atkins. Derek Atkins is the U.S. Gold medalist in 400. Yeah, and Derek Mills was also on U.S. 4x4 that broke the world record at the World Championship. So they had at that time they had a terrific 4x4. And I turned around and looked, and I was the first one to give off the baton. My teammates would say to me, the guy that runs second leg, "Why did you set me up?" Because after I gave the baton off, he didn't keep the lead. Maybe 3 or 4 teams passed him, but we ran. And after that race, I remember teams coming up to me and saying, like, "Who are you? Like, who is Lincoln University? How come we don't see you guys at national?" I remember the guys from Georgia Tech. "How come we don't see you?" We said, "No, man, we're in different division." They were like, "No, there's no way you guys are." We said, "Yeah, man, we're Division III." They was like, "Y'all running 3-0 something Division III?" He said, "There's no way." And other coaches come up to me too at the time and say, "Hey, how things going?" Coaches talk. "How things going at Lincoln? You happy there? These are Division I coaches. You happy at Lincoln? But no, I wouldn't change anything because I think my coach gave me the confidence that I needed to take my my talent to the next level.
All right, over to you, Mr. Ian Thomas.
Okay, Sir Clive Terrelonge. So listening to you, as you would have said, when you got to the USA, you weren't the best kid in terms of best in your class running. You're just an average kid.
Yeah.
What I want to know, now that you was leaving high school, going on to college, what would have made you think that an average kid could step up his game, to be among the top athletes?
Well, it's going to college at Lincoln, and my coach Cyrus Jones. We had a meeting with the team meeting my freshman year, and I think we had a big freshman class, probably one of the biggest at the time, probably about 24, I think, athletes was in the freshman class, just on the men's side, not even the women's side, just on the men's side. It was a big freshman class. And I remember we have to stand up in front, introduce ourselves, free run and everything. And once we did that, my coach went around down the line and to every one of the freshmen and said, you can be a national champion if you want. If you believe in this program, you can be a national champion. And, you know, some people might just take that and say, okay, this guy is just talking and whatever. But I took it personal. I said, again, if this man don't know me and he believe I could be a national champion, why don't I believe I could be a national champion? So from that day, my mentality changed. I said, if he believe I could be as good as everybody else, because he had a national champion team the year prior, the 4x4 won the national championship, and I was looking to try to get on that 4x4. And if he believed in me, why don't I believe in myself? So from that day, I didn't want to let him down, you know, and I put it in my mind, I'm going to do everything I can to prove that Coach Jones is right, that I could be a national champion.
All right, thank you. All right, so listening to you, you know, that was big, you know. But say tonight we are having someone, an athlete out there who aspired to be an world champion one day, but somehow at this particular time, you know, probably they're just out there in high school and they're not among the best athletes. What would you say to them since you have been through this process?
The thing I would say to them is believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Believe in what your coach is doing. Believe in the program that he's writing for you and telling you to do. Because I think it starts with belief. A lot of people said, thinking like, okay, you are talented. People use that word all the time. This person is talented, that person is talented. Of course, there's some physical attribute that some people have that some don't have. I say some people, my term is some people got touched by God a little bit more. Some people got touched by Jesus a little bit more than some. However, I think the biggest thing you can have is your mind. I tell people I'm not the biggest, strongest. Well, maybe I'm the strongest, but I'm not the biggest. But I always think that my gift was God gave me a mind to push myself beyond. So the thing is, I would tell someone is that push yourself even when you don't believe you can push yourself anymore. And be consistent at that. Push yourself when you don't believe you can push anymore and be consistent in that. Because if you can be consistent in that, there's always a next breakthrough each time you push yourself.
I know they'll be happy for that bit of advice right there. So right back over to you, Ian. Thank you.
All right. Awesome. So, man, I'm just excited about talking about this career at Lincoln, the Lincoln Lions. I mean, if you guys, you know, this university is a historically Black HSBC university, and they have a lot of legacy. And I know Clive probably just wanted to go to college. He probably didn't know what he was getting into, you know. But you are now a legend. I mean, you're a Hall of Famer at this university because you're probably one of the best male athlete. I'm probably one of the best athlete that pretty much went through that school. I mean, when I look on the stats right here, I mean, you was the Division III record 3 times. You're a 3-time winner. I mean, that's just, you won 19 Division III All-American. So, you know, so that's 4 years, guys. He win 19. I mean, he probably tell us what it's like for you to compete when you go to a track meet. How many events do you normally do? I mean, what's the workload for you? I mean, you know, at the time.
Well, workload is pretty high. You know, and I train and push myself beyond most people comfort level. A lot of people say, you know, if you have a athlete and your coach tell you to go, you have practice from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock, and the work is, you do the work, you think, oh yeah, I'm going to be good because I'm a good coach and I did the work. No, but what about the other work? What about doing the abs at night? What about getting up in the morning, working? The work, that unseen work, I call that the work that no one pay attention to. Those are the work. And I think for me, being there at Lincoln, I'm gonna tell you one of the things that struck me my freshman year about the university and about the team was that they were very competitive. And I think not all of them came there competitive. I wasn't very competitive, was not very competitive at all. Did track in Florida because my friends was on the team and I wanted to be on the team, and I did it in Jamaica, so I just did it. But once I got to college, it was a little bit different because my coach created an environment of winning. And he did that long before I got there. And so when I got there, it's almost like either you fall in line or you're not really a part of the team, because nothing was expected. We didn't run and think about winning a conference championship. No one on that team think about any other championship besides national championship. That's it. That's the only reason you're there. Ian, you went to Mason. We were in the IC4A, ECAC IC4A. We went to IC4A every year. We didn't go to win. I mean, there's some years that we could have won. We didn't go to win. All we went to IC4A for is to improve our times and on the national list. I went to IC4A before and ran the 500 indoors. I had the fastest time. I didn't even run the finals. At the fastest time. I almost broke the IC4A record my junior year and didn't run the finals because it wasn't that important to my coach. It wasn't that important to us. We wanted to try to get the 4x4 time down faster and all that. So the competitiveness there was probably the biggest thing. Quick little story about one of my teammates, my captain, my freshman year. Coming from Jamaica, never seen an indoor track before, never been on an indoor track before. We went to Bucknell University up in the mountains of Pennsylvania. My first indoor meet, and I'm running the open 400. I had a teammate on there who actually graduated and became one of my coaches for the World Championship later on in my career. We were in the same heat in the 400. And I think maybe I was in lane 3 and he was I was in 4 on the outside of him and he was in 3 or something. And you run the first 2 turns, you get to the break and come over. So I came over on him and he elbowed me. And I stumbled because this guy, he built like a linebacker. He's a 400 runner that built like a linebacker on our team. And this guy elbowed me. So, he knocked me off stride a little bit, stumbled a little bit. And then I came back around and he won. He beat me in that race. And he'll tell you, if I call him right now, he'll tell you that's the only 400 he's ever beat me in our career. And he was a year ahead of me. But he never beat me again. However, when we crossed the line, I went over to him because I was upset. And, coming from Jamaica, I have a little bit of edge to me, So I went over to him and I said, hey, I'll do it. Like I said, he built like a linebacker. But I said, hey, we teammates, man. Why would you help on me? And I'm trying to cut in. He said, they call the freshmen at Lincoln, they call them preps. He said, Preppy, we're not teammates when we're on the track. We're teammates now. But we're not teammates when we're on the track. And Juan Edney did that to me my freshman year. And I realized this is why this team is good. Because they don't care who they're running. It's not, okay, so we're teammates. What? I'm not going to let you beat me. He was like, we're teammates now. The race is over. But we're not teammates when we're on the track. So it's that type of mentality that I went into. So it's like either I went along with it or I just faded in the background. And I wanted to do part of it. So I went along with it and I started becoming more competitive in training, become more competitive in competition, and realizing that each race is separate by itself. You have to run each race like it's your last race?
Man, this year is just, I mean, this story here means so much to me. I want to show the viewers a little clip of this university. This was done on the school website. I'm going to share it, a 30-second clip of it, so they actually could see a little bit about the school and what you have accomplished. You are pretty much now on the Hall of Fame there. So we're going to share this here for. Yeah, we're going to share this here. This here is real good. Won't be long. Um,
Memories.
yeah, yeah. So it's a whole long list, but that was when they talk about sport in at the Lincoln Lions University. You are pretty much in the Hall of Fame. You're on the documentary. You're on all the thing. Now we're gonna talk a little bit about some of the legacy of this school, because you got Langston Hughes. You got former Prime Minister of Nigeria. There's a lot of legend and a lot of people that inspirational people that actually passed through this university. So I just want to say, man, I really was inspired by the legacy of the school and the history of it. And I think you have actually told me that it was one of the first historically black school that was established in 1854, at the time. So, but how was campus life? Let's I know we're gonna get back to the track, but what was campus life for you living on the dorm on campus there and just going to school? How is it different? I know that you have actually moved on to coach at several university, so you actually could see now. But what was something different about the Lincoln Lions that you could say, man, this I love this university?
Well, I mean, one, there's at the time, now it's a little bit different. The university was out in the middle of nowhere in Cornfield, Pennsylvania, in the rolling hills of Pennsylvania, by Oxford, Pennsylvania. So it was nothing there to do there besides just study and athletics. Philadelphia is there, but Philadelphia, you need a car because there was there was a shuttle and stuff that go there, but it wasn't, something that people do on a regular, because you need a car to go to Philadelphia, to get back and forth to the city. So it was very close knit. Like you said, it's the first historical black university in the U.S. As far as segregation in the South. There was a black university that opened up in the North that people can go to. You have, Langston Hughes. You mentioned. If you don't know who Langston Hughes is, then you're a black person. You need to go look at some history. So Frederick Douglass. You have the first Prime Minister of Ghana. You are the President of Nigeria. I went to school with two of the sons of the President of Nigeria, and one of the sons of the President of Ghana. So it's a very, very, very historical university. Not a lot of people know about it, because again, it's a small. It's probably still, I would say, probably right now, it's probably still the smallest or one of the smallest HBCU in the U.S. So it's not a very big school, but it was one place that black male And at the time, because women couldn't go to the university at the time, Black male could go for education. So if you look back in history, you'll find a lot of educated Black men in the U.S. back then in the 1800s, they went to Lincoln University. So it has a lot of historical factors to do with it. I like that aspect of it because I didn't know anything about that, because coming from Jamaica, a lot of things are different, and our thought and mentality, even when you think about Black people, it's just different. So when I went there, it was a eye opener for me, and everybody know everyone there. It's like a big family there. Everyone support everyone. I mean, from the professors down to the coaching staff on all the teams, and all the program support each other. I'll always be grateful to Lincoln University and to Cyrus Jones, because they gave me that foundation that moved me forward through life to where I am now. For Lincoln University to be such a small school at the time, and we were, as far as track and field go, we were competing at such a high level. It's just a testimony to my coach, Resilient, and his brilliance of being able to bring kids from all over the place, because we had kids from all over the U.S. that came there and competed at a high level.
All right, awesome, Coach. I needed to get some water because this is going to be a 2-point question for you right now. I want you to tell us your best memory on the track, and I want you to tell us your best memory about the university. You could pick whatever one you want to answer first.
Best memory?
Your best memory. I mean, you got so much memory. I mean, I could have gone through so many. I mean, you actually set a Division III record. That was just got broken by an Olympic medalist. It took one of the all-time greatest, Nick Symmonds, to break your record. And so that tells you how and that record probably not going to be broken for a while. But running, winning, for so many years, indoor and outdoor. What one race or one moment that actually was stood out to you? You don't have to be a win, but just something that you probably didn't, surprise yourself, and maybe wasn't feeling well. What was that moment that always, when you think about running, that's going to come to your mind first?
Well, I'm gonna give you two. You asked about the workload, and I didn't really give you the workload before, but I'm gonna give you the workload now because that's one of the memory. So when I go to meet, my workload would be whatever my coach want me to do. So I would run the open 4, open 800, 4x4. If I go to a relay meet and you want me to run the 4x2, I'm on the 4x2 as well. Sprint medley, whatever it is. So the workload for me, my sophomore year, my coach thought, now I'm strong enough and, good enough in, as a college runner. So indoor, he decided to put me in the open 4 and the open 8 and run the 4x4. However, between the 800 and the 400, there's only the 60 meters. So you have the 60-meter hurdles and the 60-meter hurdles and the 60-meter dash. Those are the only two things between it. So that's not a lot of time. So in the trials, I was okay. In the trials, I did both of them, and with tired and everything. But in the finals, it become a little bit more difficult because I have all three. And now the 60, it's only one race because everything is a final, so it's only one race. So the turnaround. So I remember running with 800. I think the 800 was first. Came down, my teammates helped me, and I just lay down, put my feet up. I didn't even have time to put my sweats on because I just didn't have enough time. I had to go back to run the 400. That didn't go so well. I scored some points because I'm in the finals, only 8 people. And then I had to come back maybe 30 minutes later and run the 4x4 finals. So that always stood out because I was like, Coach, we'll never do this again indoor. Outdoor, we did it every year because it was possible, because it's national championship in 3 days or whatever, and the trials and finals, they're separated, and I can do it. I'm strong enough to be able to do that, the double or triple. It's too close. And the other memory I would say is I strained my hamstring running the open 400 at nationals, outdoor nationals. And I had to run, I ran the 800, won the 800, won the 400, but I strained my hamstring. I didn't tell my coach that I strained my hamstring in the finals of the 400. I told my teammate, the same one that bumped me off the track, Juan Hedney, because he's the captain. I told him that I strained my hamstring. He was the only one I told. And I told him, and he took me to the trainer, and the trainer told me I can't run. He was like, your hamstring is strained. You can't run now. Like, there's no way I'm not running. Although we had an alternate, but for me, I believe I'm the best option, even if I'm not 100%. And like I said, we had alternate and national, but I didn't want the alternate to run. I wanted to run. And because if they lost, I would be devastated that they lost because of me. So I told the trainer to give me painkillers and ace bandage. There's ace bandage my leg up as tight as possible. I went out in the hallway, did some stride. I was like, okay, it hurts. All right, I'll wait a few, so the painkillers kick in, and I wind up going down the track. We start walking down the track that bring us out to the track. My coach saw me. We took the sweats off, the track gear off. My coach saw the ace bandage on my leg, and he started screaming from the stand, like, why did no one tell me? They call me Worm. That was my nickname, because everyone on our team has a nickname. So they call me Worm. So like, why did no one tell me Worm is hurt? Why is that boy leg wrapped up? And he's screaming like at nationals, all the fans there and everybody, and he's screaming at the top of the lungs, why is he hurt? And my teammate Juan Edney, he said, Coach, I got it. Like, he's all right. And I remember that, and just being able to hide from my coach that I was hurt because I wanted to run. I wanted the 4x4 to win so bad. And my teammate helped me out because he believed that, I was the best option also. And he believed that I was tough enough to be able to run the 4x4 without, falling or dying or something. So, and we ran and we won the 4x4, and, it become a big story for years to come.
Yeah, it seems like you got some teammates, and I know, I'm not sure who is your teammates, but some guys are on here. Some of the viewers, they really seem like they was there with you. They're just enjoying the memory, man. All right, so my next question. I mean, I'm gonna put you over to Ian, but I want to find out about. Did you actually ever lost the race running for Lincoln?
That's a good question. All right, so maybe this should have been one of my memories too, because this actually turned my thing around. At nationals, my sophomore year, I went into the national championship, outdoor championship, a second and a half faster than the second place qualifying time person. So I was a second and a half ahead of the field in the 800. However, not knowing how to run because I started running in high school, how to run the 800. I used to sit. I used to be an 800 runner that sit and use my speed, my Jamaican speed or whatever, my 400 speed in the last 200. I did that all my freshman year. My coach used to drive my coach crazy because he used to say, you're only going to beat the people that you could beat anyway. Like, you're never going to beat the good people because you're not going to run down all the good people. The people that you're going to catch is the people that you can beat anyway. So, but he tried to get me to change my style, and it was just hard because, again, it's a pain of running. The event I wasn't quite settled with that, going through that pain all the time. So I would sit, 600 and just try to kick everybody in the last 200. So my sophomore year, going into national with that time gap between the field, and I was sitting in the back, and I had another teammate on the race, Vernon Miller. He was also in the same heat with me at the final. They're in the top, and I should not listen about these top two things, but they're taking the top two to the finals. And I sat in the back, and I got boxed in coming around to the 600. Meanwhile, the top three guys are getting away from the rest of us, and I'm sitting in the box. So I had to slow down and go around the outside of everyone to come around down the straightaway. We finished. It was a photo finish. It was very close. We finished. I caught those guys like right up coming to the line. My teammate Vernon got second. Another guy won the race. I got third. So I didn't make it because they were taking top two to the finals. And the next, I think there were three. So top two and next two times. And my heat wasn't fast enough because, again, I wasn't running the race the way I should. So I had to sit at nationals and watch that finals crying because I knew somebody else was winning my national championship. So after that, when you ask about losing in the race, after that, from my sophomore year to my senior year, I never run any race. No matter what race we go to, we had pros in the race, I'm leading the race. Only way I'm not leading the race is if there's a rabbit in the race. If we had pros, we go to like Florida Relay, you have guys from Nike or Reebok or whoever, whatever race we were in, whatever meet we go to, it doesn't matter who was in it. Their name didn't bother me, nothing bothered me. I ran every race from the front. If you're going to beat me, you're going to have to beat me by running me down. So I learned my lesson from that. So again, I went to all those national championships after that. Never ran in a race, never ran anybody else's race, just ran my own race. So I used to lose a lot of race my freshman year from sitting and kicking. After my sophomore year, I didn't lose a lot. It was a lot of winning.
All right. I'll talk a little bit about that because you have known to be a front runner from all the athletes in Jamaica. I heard them, guys like Mason, Mario, Alex, Simon Bowen, all those guys, they all want to beat you. So, they know that, you're going to take it out. So we're going to talk about that. Over to you, Ian.
Okay. It was fun just listening the journey here, man. Quick question for you is while you were there at Lincoln, what were some of the major challenges that you have as an athlete?
When I was there at Lincoln, I think probably the major challenge I have is that I was on a team with a lot of guys from inner city, a lot of inner city guys with similar mentality as guys in the street. It was just the difference is they were in college trying to get an education. I went through a lot of situations where there was fight on campus that we didn't shy away from, because the thing about Lincoln University at that time, New York City, Philadelphia, Baltimore, there was a lot of, because it was this school, there was a lot of celebrities or artists or stuff used to come to campus and bring a lot of, and there's a lot of people from the inner city used to come to campus for these parties that we used to have on campus, and there was a lot of people that came there and they would take advantage, I would say, try to take advantage because they think, okay, these guys are soft, they're college guys. So if I had a girlfriend and I'm at a party or something and somebody's like, hey, well, that's Clive's girlfriend. Everybody on campus know that Clive's girlfriend. But this guy from off campus that don't know that's Clive's girlfriend gonna try to talk to him, and if anybody go say anything, he's gonna try to act tough or whatever. So, but we were the type of team that we were so close that it didn't matter. Anyone, we would put our life on the line for the next person. So we got into a lot of trouble. Put it that way. We got into a lot of trouble, a lot of fights, and gave my coach a lot of headaches because of that, and because of the background of where a lot of us came from. The situation, a lot of situations will escalate, and I thought that was a challenge for us because I got kicked out of school at one point, and I had to get back in. And part of what helped me is because I did qualify for the Olympics, and I was an Olympian, and they you know, the university, both my coach and the university president, actually helped me to my situation so I can be able to go to the Olympic. But those, I think that was the only real challenge for me, because I think everything else was easy for me because of my teammates. They pushed me. I remember in training, I would run. If I would be in the back, my teammate would get upset. We had a very unselfish team. My teammate would get upset because they know that I'm more talented than them, or they know that I can do the workout better than them. So they'll get mad if I'm in the back. Like if I'm doing a workout with a quarter mile, because I used to do workout with both groups. I was the maniac training. I used to train the way I used to train. I trained with 800 people. I tried to get there early, do the entire 800 workout. Whatever the quarter milers I have left to do, say they're doing 600 and they are 300s or 600, anything, 600, and they have 3 left. Although I just finished my 800 workout, I'm going to jump in there and do their last 3 with them. But even then, they still would get mad at me if I'm running in the back, because they knew that there was something about me that was different, and they wanted me to succeed, and they knew if I succeed, it would help them to succeed at the same time. So I think I didn't have a lot of challenges besides, you know, schoolwork and, you know, the trouble that we used to give our coach by fighting and stuff like that, getting, you know, those situations.
All right. I know you mentioned one particular injury, but over your career time, were you plagued with major injuries?
Not in college. As a pro, yes. In college, I was not. I strained my hamstring, I think, twice in college. But like I said, I ran through one of them. And I was an athlete that I think I get over injuries pretty fast. And I think my coach used to say I'm tough as nails, because I would run in pain. It didn't matter. I would run in pain. So in college, I didn't go through a lot of injuries that would stop me from doing anything. Maybe sprain a ankle or something, but I still would put an ankle strap on or get them tape it or something, and I'll still run. I was just never think that anything could stop me from running. So.
Okay. I was gonna ask you a question about your early mentor, but you speak so highly of your coach. So what I want to do is to give you this time, a minute or two, to just tell us something about your coach. What set him apart from the others? Because really, just listening to you, it seems like your belief came when you met this particular coach. So could you just tell us about your coach a little?
Yes, and you are exactly right. My belief in myself, my ability, came when I met Cyrus Jones. And for me, and I think a lot of my teammates, a lot of kids, like I said, from the inner city, single family home. He was a father figure to all of us, both male and female. He was the type of person that could inspire you. He would tell you a story and you just look at him and just like, man, this man, it really believe, he's so charismatic and so convincing about, even if his story, even if you thought had some doubt about the story, you still believe it because coach said it, so you still believe it. So I think for me, he care about exactly beyond just track and field. Like he wanted us to be successful young men, leaving, a historical Black university. He wanted us to be successful young men and women when we leave there. He wanted us to had the courage to take on any challenge that faced us out there. And like I said, he care about you beyond track and field. My coach is the type of person that if he was upset at you, and because he also had a short fuse. I mean, he doesn't play. I mean, you're gonna do it his way or no way at all. So he didn't play. However, he could he could bring you in his office, yell at you for something you didn't do or you did wrong or something, and then 5 minutes later, he's laughing and joking with you. Once he said what he had to say, once he get out what he had to get out, there will be no different. You don't hold anything against anybody. There's no malice. You know, he used to say this thing all the time. You know, time when you do wrong to you, used to turn the other cheek, like reading the Bible. He wasn't very religious, but he used to say that all the time. And for me, coming from Jamaica, I didn't believe in turning the other cheek. I believe in somebody hit you on one cheek, you hit them on the other cheek. Well, that's my mentality. And that was a lot of my teammates' mentality. But he wasn't that way. He was a military man, so he was very disciplined. He fought in the Vietnam War. You know, he'll come to practice. There's so many things I do now that I realize my coach was doing then. Like I sing now at practice. Like that, my athletes now will tell you. All my athletes from all the universities that I've coached can tell you. I come to practice every day with a different tune in my head. I come to practice every day singing a different song. It could be from Bob Marley to Biggie Smalls to whatever the latest rapper is or R&B singer is right now. It's just something I hear, or maybe the last song I hear or something. My coach is similar in that he come to training singing. He's so positive. He's always positive. My coach is I can never remember hearing any situation that was bad. My coach was negative about it. He was a very positive person, and he cared about everyone on the team, whether you was the national champion or you was even making the traveling squad. He cared about everyone on the team, and he wanted everyone to be successful with whatever that means. And because it's not going to be the same for everyone. Everyone is not going to have the same success level on the track or off the track, but he wanted you to be successful.
Man, I could tell you that he was an amazing coach, because even on the side here, as you see, we'll put across the screen some of the comments that been made about him. Cyrus D. Jones is the number one factor. That's number one.
He's the number one factor in all our lives.
Well, we just want to give thumbs up to the coach, and we're happy that he worked with you, that we would have seen some of your glory days, that you have, done on the track. You had left it all on the track with Ian telling me how many championship medal you have there. That tells a story in itself. So just gonna turn you back over to Ian, who have some solid question for you, man. You see him smiling. He can't wait.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, this is one of the story that I believe the NCAA need to even put up front about just the universities. I mean, I really believe that a lot more people need to hear this story, because so many times an athlete might not get where they want to go, and they just hold their head down. They figure because they didn't get into a Division I school or something happened that their career is not going to be successful. And I said, Clive Terrelonge started this. Nick Symmonds continue this, take it to another level. And Clive did it with less resource. Now they got more resources, in terms of just technology and infrastructure are much better now. But I'm going to move on I want to talk about the 92 Olympics, because you made the Olympics while you was a college student. How did that mean to you, knowing that when was the first time you're going back to Jamaica, to run, since you left, and what was that like, now that you in the US now for a couple of years, and then you're going back. You probably, I know you didn't stay in Stony Hill, you probably stayed down there in New Kingston. What was 92 the first time, or you actually went before?
Yeah, actually, that was my first time going back to Jamaica. Was 92 for the Olympic trials. And in 92, in college, we competed, like I said, we used to compete against these, all Division I school. We went to Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. on a Wednesday evening. They had a small meet just us and them, and I think maybe 2 other schools, and we were trying to bring people together to try to run a last chance meet, because at that time NCAA, you didn't have any regionals or qualifying. They just take the top 18 or 19 in the nation and in each event. So you had to get your time, in that top, time in the top 18 and the national championship. So the George Mason coach, Georgetown coach, knew that we were trying to do this similar thing. So he had put on a last chance meet, and it was a big deal because Rich Canal was at Georgetown at the time, and Rich Canal was the reigning NCAA Division I national champion, and I'm the reigning Division III national champion. So it was like a big deal for his teammates and my teammates to see these 2 champions meet for the first time and then see who is the best. And not only that, we're going to their hometown. We're going to their track. And, the coach set it up. We had a rabbit for the race. And, everybody was excited about it. And my thing was I went out with the rabbit, and we didn't use a lot of rabbits, so I didn't even know how to use the rabbit properly. I just knew that I had to stay behind the rabbit. And at the 400, I was going so fast. I went through the 400 at 49 seconds and my first 400, which I was like right beside the rabbit. The rabbit's supposed to go through at 50 points, and I'm right beside the rabbit. The rabbit, I was going so fast that the rabbit couldn't even stay in the race. The rabbit was supposed to go to 600. The rabbit stopped at 500. Because I passed the rabbit when we turned the turn to go down the backstretch. I passed the rabbit, and Rich Canal came with me, and I wind up winning the race. Ran 145. That was my first time running 145. Anytime you're running 145, or that you start looking at rural level type of 800 meter running, and I ran 145, and I think Rich ran 146. I beat him, won the race. And this track, my teammates were going crazy to know that that we went to Georgetown and I beat the national champion. And at that time, Ian school, George Mason was also there, because there was another school that was having some athletes trying to run, improve their time to get to the national championship too. So we had a coach there, Coach Dalton Ebanks. He's a Jamaican. And he was a George Mason coach. So Dalton Ebanks came up to me and we start talking, and he was like, "Hey, I need to let Jamaica. Does anybody know in Jamaica that you're running this fast?" I was like, "No, I don't. I'm not in contact with anyone in Jamaica." So he pulled out his cell phone and called Jamaica, called J3A, called the radio station in Jamaica. They gave me a live interview on the radio in Jamaica. And they just called me the 145 guy, because nobody knew who I was. So they just say, "Hey, we have a guy a Jamaican in the US that can run 145 in the 800. That's exciting." And they invite me down to the trials, and and that was my first time. Me and my coach went to Jamaica, and like you say, I didn't stay up in the hills. I stayed in New Kingston. Me and my coach, of course, I went up there to the hills to visit my family and stuff, but. Yeah, we stayed here, and I went to the trials, and a lot of fans, our trials, the stadium was packed, especially the day we have finals, and everyone was there, is excited to see this guy that everybody heard about but never seen before, because again, I wasn't a schoolboy. Most of the people that at trials are usually a schoolboy. They come through the system in Jamaica. Even if they come up to US, they come up to US to go to school. They didn't just migrate here to live. They come to US to go to the school, so they go back to trials. So a lot of people was known, but I was like the one person that was like a favorite for an event, to make not only just to make the Olympic team, because I already ran the Olympic A standard coming into trials. So I was one of those people that was favorite, but nobody knew who I was. Nobody knew anything about me. So I went down there, and I remember I ran the first round. I was having problem breathing. Me and my coach got there. We went to the stadium. It was so hot. And I was in Pennsylvania for a couple of years, and I wasn't used. It was so hot in Jamaica. We went to training the day before, or 2 days before, and I was having problem recovering. I was doing repeat 200, and I was having trouble recovering. So me and my coach did come up with a strategy. Say, all right, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna run the first 400 as hard as we can. Because looking on the qualifying sheet, you see the time. So we know that I have the fastest time. I'm the favorite. So my coach knows. So you're gonna go out and run the first 400 as hard as you can, and just hold on in the final. Then try. I said this is gonna be easy. You just can cruise through the trial. So that's what I did. So I went out and ran 48 in the first 400. The whole stadium was crazy when I passed the 400. I could hear the crowd going crazy. Like, who is this guy? You think he's running the open 400 or something? Why is he running so fast? Because they're thinking 48. This guy is not. They're thinking this guy, there's no way he's going to cross his line running 48 in the first 400. But I did. I hold on, and I won my first Olympic trials in Jamaica, my first championship. And everybody, it became, I became a legend, because they were like, who is this guy running that fast in the first 400? Because everybody thought I was going to die. They was like, there's no way this guy going to keep this thing going. And I did die, but, I ran fast enough to win the race, and, got what we wanted. And that's all I wanted, because I already had the A standard for the Olympic. So all I wanted was to win the trials so that I can make the Olympic team.
Man, I know. So, Clive, was that the first time you ran in the national stadium?
No, actually, I ran there when I was at Stonehill. I ran there in the 4x1, all age championships, and I ran there. But it wasn't. Maybe that was my third or fourth time running there. It was a long time. I didn't even remember. And the surface was different even when I went back there. When I went back there in college, the surface was different from what I remember when I was a little kid. Okay.
Well, I just was curious, because, as I said, I know that was one of your dreams. But I know you probably, as I said, just going back to Jamaica, you actually brought some excitement to the 800. This actually probably the first time they've seen somebody sprinting the 800.
Yeah.
And running kind of fearless. I'm assuming those guys probably come through in 52 seconds. They probably wasn't. Nobody probably wasn't going with 2. They'd be like, I don't know who is this guy. So it was like, but so let's talk about, so you qualify for the Olympics. You're still in school. You're going to Barcelona, Spain. I mean, now I know you've got a long collegiate season, so that got to take a toll in you, in terms of, and I don't know if you was able to get races in between. How was the Olympics? How was the experience, and how did your race? How did you feel about your performance?
Well, the thing is, with me going to the Olympics, I never really had an Olympic dream in the end. I'm telling you, guys, I never really had an Olympic dream. It wasn't something I grew up like with most kids in Jamaica coming up saying, they're running track. Because if you're good, then you're thinking, maybe you can in the Olympics. I never thought of myself as good, being very good in track and field. So I never had that Olympic, dream. Of course, there's people in Jamaica, people that I look up to, and, thought of, oh my God, I wish I could be like them. But it wasn't something in my mind that I thought was possible. So it's not until actually maybe the race before the Georgetown race where I actually thought about the Olympics. It was thinking about, what can I do at nationals? How good can I be nationally? That was all I was thinking about. And then I think I ran 146 before, which was the B standard. And once I hit the B standard, it was like, oh my God, this is possible. I really could be in the Olympics next year. And, so it's almost like that thing that just crept up on me. I was just putting in the work, and that thing that just crept up on me. So when I went to the Olympics, it was like that experience for me. It was like I was on cloud. People say they're on cloud 9. I was on cloud 10, because I'm there. Barcelona had Dream Team on it. They see Michael Jordan. I'm seeing the opening ceremony was crazy. I was running around like a chicken with their head cut off. I'm like, this. I see this person on TV. I see that person on TV. I remember this little Olympian, this young lady that they put, Dominique Dawes. She was like the first black
gymnast.
Yes. And I remember I saw her in the village, and I was just like, I was just in awe because they had a lot of commercials on the US about her because she was, she was like a trendsetter as a black gymnast. And I remember seeing her in the Olympic Village. I'm like, oh my God, that's Dominique. And I'm almost afraid to talk to people because I've seen them on TV, So I'm still just a collegiate athlete, just happen to run a little bit fast. I'm wind up here. People on the team that Merlene Ati. I was on the team with Merlene. And I'm like, Merlene was like the biggest star to me in Jamaica. Raymond Stewart, Winthrop Graham, those guys. And I'm like, it's almost like I was in a dream and I didn't want anybody to wake me up. So I was excited to be in the Olympics. And at the time, being that young, you're thinking, oh my God, I'm making the Olympics this young. I'm going to be at the Olympics every time they have the Olympics. I'm going to be at the Olympics till I'm 99 years old. That's the type of mentality you have. You don't think about it. Hey, you might go to one Olympics and you never go back to another Olympics. And it happens to a lot of people. But I never thought that way because it wasn't something I inspired to be as a youngster coming up and saying, oh, okay, it just happened. It just happened that I start working hard and I just start improving and I just start hitting the times. And next thing you know, I'm on a plane going to Barcelona, Spain. But I love it. I loved it all. I love it all. Wouldn't change a moment in that.
So I know right now, Clive, I know your mother got to be real proud of you because you came over here to see that now you find something that you love. People probably telling her that they hear your name on the radio in Jamaica and people start talking about you. I mean, how proud was your mom and what did you remember? Did she make it over there to Barcelona, she and coach?
Yeah. Well, I have a good story about the Barcelona thing. Going to Barcelona, again, not traveling and not, knowing all the ins and outs of traveling and thing. I made it to Barcelona, went over there with the Jamaican team. We go over there and train, live in the village. And then my mother and my coach came over together. The thing is, my mother didn't realize she needed a visa to go to Spain because she has a Jamaica passport. So she got to Spain, and with my coach, they wouldn't let her in the country. And my mom, they, stop her at the airport, immigration, and like, no, can't let you in. And they're speaking Spanish, and she don't understand. And my mother put on a show at the embassy. She was like, she started crying. She was like, there's no way my son made his first Olympic team. She started crying. Look at the little one. She started crying, but she would not leave. She stayed there. They wanted to deport her. They want to put her, because if you go to a country without a visa, they put you on the next plane out. And then she said, no, there's no way. I'll stay in jail before y'all put me out. And she stayed there, cried. They contact Jamaica Federation, the J3As came to the airport, and then they wind up working on some visa thing, and she came and be able to watch her only son in the Olympic. But it was exciting for her. My coach was there. He was confused too. But I mean, he's American, so he didn't really need a visa. But he was just there supporting my mother and he wouldn't leave her because he wanted, he know that. And my coach at the time, knew that, okay, I could make one Olympic team and it could be my only Olympic team. I didn't think like that, but my coach is older, that there's no guarantee in making another Olympic team. So there's no way he's going to leave my mother and not, help her to get in the country. So they wind up letting her into Barcelona. She get to watch me run, a couple rounds in Barcelona. And, he was excited, and I was glad they was there. My coach is there. It's amazing being in a stadium with like 50,000 people, and you can hear the one person voice and, your coach's voice in the stand, which I thought was crazy when I got there and I was running the first round and I could hear what my coach was telling me to do. So, yeah. That's
awesome, man. So we know that you graduated. So 92, 93, you went back to college. You probably, you got to be a legend on campus now. I mean, you coming back, you have the Jamaica sweatsuit, you've been in the Olympics, going back on campus. How did they treat you? I mean, you probably get all A's right now.
I wish I did get all A's because of that. No, but it was a little different. I mean, going back, I mean, when I went back, you know, the student union, which also have the bookstore, the cafeteria, the restaurants, the stuff in it, where everybody go and hang out and stuff, had a big thing of me and somebody, I don't know who did it, but somebody draw like a picture of me running and they put Barcelona and welcome back, Clive Terrelonge, the Lincoln first Olympian, and it was a bunch of things up on the wall and things. So anybody that walked through there that didn't, I mean, everybody pretty much that went there knew who I was at that time anyway. But if you didn't know, you knew who I was. So I definitely became like the big man on campus. Football player, basketball player, nobody could touch me because I was the man on campus at that time. For me, it's amazing though, because I don't look at myself like that. So you know, even my teammates, they would like say stuff sometimes, and I'm like, okay. I just never look at myself like that. I mean, of course it was great, and I'm happy everybody's excited for me, but at that time, I also look at it like, oh my God, I need to be better next time. I need to get better because I don't want to go back to the Olympics and not come back with something. Like, I wanted to be better. That's all I could think about, you know, for the next few years.
Well, awesome, man. Again, this story just amazing. I know that you have graduated in '94. You got that degree, man, and you be like, man, I'm gonna try and do this thing here professional now. You be like, man, I'm done with school. You know, I know that you probably was able to secure a contract, which, you know, now that the school not taking care of you anymore, you got to be able to train. How did the transition go to the professional level?
Well, for me, it was I stayed at Lincoln with my coach, move off campus. My coach helped me get a little job, part-time job at the university. And I was like, you know, training there with my coach, like volunteering with the team. You know, so I get to travel with them, go to meets and run and stuff like that. Go to nationals, help them out at nationals if I wasn't away competing. But the transition for me was smooth because I didn't have to think about leaving to go somewhere else to train. There was a lot of people that wanted me to go other places to train because they're like, you need a training partner. There's nobody at Lincoln that can run with you. You need a training partner. And I did get a little contract from Nike, and you know, they wanted me to find someone else, but I just wasn't comfortable leaving. You know, so I stayed here and trained and started running. I remember even 93, I made the World Championship team. I remember the great Glenn Mills now at the time was the 800 meter coach because it wasn't anybody. It was me and Inez, I think, might have made that team. Or maybe she wasn't me. But it was just me as an 800 meter runner. And I had a coach, and it was Glenn Mills. Glenn Mills was the medal distance coach. So I was the only athlete. And I remember Glenn Mills, you know, tried to talk me into coming to Jamaica and started a group. Like the group that he started later on with Bolt and all those guys, he wanted to start that with me. But I wasn't comfortable going back to Jamaica at the time. Now it's probably different because they have more resources. They have gyms, they have more resources, like places to live, you know, like MVP and all those guys, races, they have all the athletes staying in apartments and stuff. At that time, they didn't have those resources. So almost every athlete that run for Jamaica at that time was either in the US training or in college in the US. So I just continued to stay and train with my coach and, you know, start traveling. I got on a group that I thought was the great group. Claude Bryan actually helped me to go to trials when I was in college because I didn't know who to contact besides Coach Banks, the information that Coach Banks gave me. So Claude actually helped me because he was around and he saw me run in New York and stuff. And we used to go to meets and Claude would be around, and he just started at the time. So he kind of helped me. But when I left school, it was time for me to go with an agent. I wind up not going with Claude because in Barcelona, one of the agents talked to my coach, and the agent was Merlin's coach agent. It was Merlin, Winthrop, Raymond, I think Sandy. No, Sandy was a QB, but it was a lot. Deion Emmons. It was a lot of Jamaican. Juliet Cuthbert was with him. It was a lot of Jamaican. Most of the top Jamaicans were with that agent. So I said, if I'm going to go with somebody, I'm going to go with that guy because he's with the top people that I look up to, people that I always like want to be like, was in that group. I mean, there was other groups, you know, like Sandy was in a different group with QB and some of the other Jamaicans, but I wanted to be in that group, especially because Merlin was in there, and for me, she was just a Jamaican legend. Raymond Stewart. I have the same agent as Raymond Stewart, you know. So, you know, Winthrop, yeah. So I went with that agent, and basically start touring after that. So.
All right, awesome. Well, I'm gonna, hold on a little bit. I know, I'm gonna speed it up when they come back. Over to you, Ian.
A quick question for you, Terrelonge.
Yeah.
I know you transitioned from Jamaica into the USA. At the point where you start running for Jamaica, was it possible that you could also run for the US at that time?
It was possible, but I didn't want to. I want to run for the country that I born in, grew up in. Like, I can leave Jamaica, I can go move to Africa. I'm African, but I'm Jamaican. I was born in Jamaica. So I'm not gonna say, well, I'm gonna run for Africa. I'm Jamaican. So I had the opportunity to. I would have to do, file the papers and stuff to do it, but I didn't want to because I wanted to run for Jamaica. And it wasn't like taking the easy way out or anything like that. I'm Jamaican. I'm gonna be Jamaican till I die. Even the afterlife, I'm gonna be Jamaican. And I'm not gonna. The one thing I wanted when I start realizing that I had the ability to be compete at a global level, I wanted to know what it feel like to have the Jamaican national anthem playing while I stand on the podium. I wanted to be proud Jamaican, knowing that I helped my country to get a medal at a global championship. It would not be the same if I would stand there and listen to the U.S. national anthem. I wouldn't have the same emotion. It wouldn't feel the same. I just didn't. I had the opportunity to, but the long story short, I didn't. I wanted to run for Jamaica.
All right. Well, we're happy you did. Next question. In your little community of Zion Hill, what did that mean to Zion Hill when they see a little country boy make it into the Olympics, just came back to Jamaica and blew people's mind? Because I guess they didn't know that probably you were doing that well overseas.
No, and no one knew that I was doing that well overseas. I mean, all my friends and everybody in the community was so excited. They at that time they used to call me redhead. My hair was red. It was blonde, kind of blonde at that time in Jamaica. Growing up, they used to call me redhead, and everybody was excited. Redhead, make the Olympic team. Redhead qualify for the Olympics. Because again, I wasn't the most outstanding athlete, at that time growing up. When I left Jamaica, they know I run track, and I was on the 4x1. I was on Stony Hill team. I ran with Michael Carr, and we ran a couple times in stadium, but no one expected that from me. So it was just like everybody was excited. I remember when I went to the Olympic trial. And I went there, it's almost like I need to get out of there because they're not going to let me rest. Everybody coming over to the host and want to talk to me, and I'm not going to be able to get no rest to run at trials. I need to get out of there, get back to New Kingston to the hotel so I can rest to make the team. So yeah, everyone was excited for me, and realizing that, from that little community, from Templar, from Zion or somebody, have the ability to make the Jamaican national team.
I can just imagine how that community came alive when they realized, no, making the Olympic team, you spoke about some of the greats, but I want to know just the chill feeling when you really realize that you're now in the company of like Merlin, Atty, Juliet Cuthbert, Winthrop, Graham, and those guys. Just, some things like you sit back at home, I know when you're growing up and you just watch some things on TV. It's like you never see yourself there, but no, you're there. You're among these athletes, top athletes. How did that make you feel personally?
Well, it made me feel good because, again, I growing up not with that mentality of, oh yeah, one day I'm gonna be there, was different, and for me, just being with those athletes that I look up to, it was like, man, I can't believe I made it. Sometimes I actually really like stop myself. I'm like, I really made it. And, but it was excited. And I was glad that I was with those people, and especially with the group I was, because as Ian probably know, I got into some meets, some Diamond League meets, some Grand Prix meets that I probably shouldn't have been in, but I had the great Merlin Nati in my group, and everybody wanted her. Merlin was so big in Europe at that time. Everyone wanted her in her competition. We could go to a competition, and the meet promoter would say, well, we're not gonna bring in anybody until 2 days before the meet. And our agent would say, no, well, Merlin want to come in a week before, and they wind up bringing all of us there, to the hotel the week before because of Merlin, because they want everybody come to meets. They wanted to see Merlin Nati run.
Yep, I know. I remember those days, man. Back to you, Ian.
All right, awesome, man. Thank you too. So we're going to move along. We're getting into the highlight of your career. I know that. You're starting to turn a veteran now. 92 Olympics, 93 World Championship, 94, and I'm pretty sure you've been winning the trials for several years. 92, 93, 94, you represent Jamaica in the Commonwealth Game. I was a freshman in college in 94. So, going to the Commonwealth Games, I was just starstruck. So, I was just happy to be there. And, some of the superstars came and some didn't come. The Commonwealth Game, I remember going to the trials and it was straight final because a lot of people didn't come, So, but I know you decided to represent Jamaica again in 94. You did the whole circuit, and then, I'm going to move along to 95 because that's for time's sake, we're going to keep it going. So 95, that's, to me, based on all the research that I did and everything that I've gone through, I think 95 was your best year running track and field in your life, in terms of the record. So let's talk about now, you've been running indoors. So, now how did this happen that now, I know this got to surprise the whole world. You got to surprise the Kenyans. You become the world indoor. I'm just going to say, you become the world indoor champion. You have done something that nobody else have ever done, to be the first. I know what it's like to be the first. And, how difficult was that be? What was some of the journey and the challenges leading up to you getting to win that championship over in Barcelona? But it's funny, it's Barcelona, right? That was indoor.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure. You've been there to the Olympics already.
Yeah.
Then you're going back for the indoor. So I think that got to be somewhat known. You already been there. It wasn't like a strange place.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. And I love Barcelona. That was my first Olympics, where you said, making the first team, you're starstruck. It's funny we talk about that '94 Commonwealth game. I went to that Commonwealth game too. You probably don't remember me because I came in and out of that Commonwealth game. I didn't perform well there. Probably was my worst international competition ever because I stayed in Europe a little bit too long, and I came over like the night before. The night before I had to race the next day, so I was in and out. I was supposed to run on the 4x4 also, and I was in and out of that. I was in and out of that Commonwealth game so fast. I just went home. A lot of things happened in '94.
But collect my record. We actually got to talk about '93. I thought that was '95, but I think it was '93 that you really believe that you have made the final.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so yeah. So '93, because I believe that if you have gotten that final, that could be the difference. That who knows what could have happened. That could have been another turning point for you. In terms of knowing that you won a medal, you know that you're running with these guys. So now people was actually know you now. And you went to the 1993 World Championship, Clive, and you was eliminated in the semifinal in the photo finish. That took a lot of protests, and still I know your version of it might be different. I wasn't there. I'm just going off the record, but I watched the race over and over, and it could have gone either way. You could have got put in that final because you missed the final by the skin of your teeth. If anybody know what we're talking about, that's saying in Jamaica. Man, how disappointed that was for you, knowing that you're trying to climb up the ladder now. You win the medal indoor, and then now you're trying to duplicate that outdoor in '93. How devastated was that for you to miss the final? And was there any regrets or any disappointment, or what lesson did you learn from that?
Yeah, that was pretty. Yeah, '93 World Championship in Stuttgart, Germany was pretty devastating for me. Because coming off the Olympic, having that experience now that I've been in the Olympics, I'm excited about the World Championship, and I think I was fitter at the World Championship than I was at the Olympics. And we ran the rounds, and I got to the semis, and there was a photo finish. They were taking top two to the finals, and to me, I went across. My torso went across, which is what they count before the Kenyan Jamaica protest, because they gave me third, and they were taking top two. Jamaica protest, they denied the protest, and then I don't know. I think they re-protest again because after I left the stadium, there was still talk going on because they showed it even in the stadium. Even the commentator in the stadium in Germany said that Terrelonge was second in that heat. So everybody thought I made the finals. But when the result came up, it took a long time for the result to come up, and we was like, they have photo finish. It doesn't take that long. And they say I missed it by 1/100th of a second. Now the video is out there on YouTube. Anybody can go look at it.
Well, I want to show that video. Let me go ahead and show the race before you go any further. I've got the race, but I was like, man, I don't know if you want to see it or not, but but we're going to show it a real quick clip of it right now. Yeah.
I don't really live with too much regrets, but that was one of the things because I was so fit, and I actually knew that I actually could have won that race actually, but I was trying to get top two.
So feel free. There's no audio, so if you want to talk during the race, feel free to do it.
Okay. So that's me there breaking over in the yellow top, Jamaica, on the outside, which is not the best place to run, but you don't want to get in too much trouble in the race. So I was running there. When you watch the race and the finish, you know, you will see probably what everyone else saw at the time, that I finished the race. That guy was in front, the Kenyan, was the Olympic champion from the year before. You had Perella in there. He was, I think, the U.S. #2 behind Johnny Gray. Johnny Gray didn't make the final. A lot of the big names didn't make the final, and we heard after this that a lot of the reason why they put the Kenyan in there, because a lot of the big names got knocked out during the rounds. I wasn't a known athlete at the time, although I went to the Olympics the year before, but I wasn't a known 800-meter runner. So they said that they wanted the field with somebody notable in there. You know, they decided to. So right here, coming off the turn, I knew I had the gear and enough energy to catch those guys in front of me. And I'm just, you know, sizing up how far we had to go and can I catch him? And right there on the line, me and William Tanui came down at the line and they photo finished. The guy from England there put his hand up, he won. And like I say, even the commentators said Terrelonge got second and I didn't. This was a big world championship. It was the first world championship that they paid the athletes and actually paid the winner. And it was a lot of money. And actually, this was in Stuttgart, Germany. They actually gave a car to the winner, the Mercedes-Benz to the winner. They ship it to the U.S. or wherever you live for you. And this would have been definitely a turning point in my career as far as setting me up with contracts and more opportunity for more global things. And I felt like they stole that one from me. But I learned a lot from that, and I moved on and continued with my career after that, you know. But that was a big one. That was definitely a big one. And if you run a race and you know that you didn't put your all in it and you didn't make the final, because I knew I had a little bit left, and I knew I was fit. I was in '93. I was fit. My coach knew I was ready for the final, and I really believe in my mind, no one could tell me if I ran the next day, I would not be on that podium. I would have got my first medal for Jamaica in that world championship.
Yeah, that was a good chance. You was beating you ran against 143 guys and 144 guys.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, I know in track and field, you go in that final, I mean, it doesn't matter if you go in the 7th fastest, the 8th fastest, or whatever it is, because if you look on even the guy that barely qualified, he went in there and ran pretty good, you know, but I believe that you have looked very fit, and you have looked, in my opinion, that you was looking for you would have got a breakthrough, and but unfortunately, sometime, you know, we face these obstacles and challenge, and we only could use it to inspire us and try to come back. And, you know, maybe, you know, it was just that one little lean and one little, you know, I mean, you know, it's unfortunate, but I wanted to show back that race. I mean, I know you still went on to have a successful year that year, '93. You probably go on to the World Athletic Finals and in the Grand Prix final. You know, they changed the name several times and things like that. But Clive, you have a great career. '94, '95, you've been back to another World Championship. Then '96, you was back to the Olympics. So I mean, you pretty much now win the trials 4 years in a row. I mean, you know, you were running pretty consistent. You're running on TV, traveling the world, you know, running and stuff, you know, and so, you know, I'm going to move along to the '96. So I know going back to the '96 Olympics, you definitely, it was in America now. I know coach going to be there again. Did you make any changes? I mean, you know, how was the '96 season? What did you try to do? And did you, you know, do anything different that you thought that could have made you better going into '96? I mean, you know.
Well, '96, there was more expectations in '96 because I was a world champion. in '95. So it was more of a pressure going into '96 to perform, because now I'm known on the circuit. I've been on the circuit for years. Like you said, '93 was a good year for me. I went to Diamond League finals in Brussels that year. So I was known by all the other 800-meter runners. Anybody that was coming up that wanted to run 800, you know, like you say, I was on TV. So I was known. So it was a little bit more, it was different from the World Championship or '92 Olympics, because '92 Olympics, I was just like a kid, didn't just happy to be there. So now I was expecting. I think the one thing that I look back at and maybe would have changed about '96 Olympics was that because I was the world champion the year before, I was running in all these little races all over Europe, just trying to make some money, trying to make all these extra money. And all the meet promoter wanted me because, you know, if you win any medals, they want you to come to their meet, no matter where the meet. No matter where the meet is, Russia, it doesn't matter where the meet was. They want you to show up to the meet to say that they have a world champion on, you know, the program, and they try to get as many medalists as they could. So I think I raced too much that year, because again, you win the '95, the year after, that's when you're going to get invited to all these meets. I think I raced a little bit too much that meet, so I came in Atlanta a little bit tired for the Olympics, and so I didn't run as well as I wanted to. But again, I was excited to get back to another Olympics and be able to try to get another medal.
This thing was done. And I said, I don't want to finish the highlight of your career, but just bring us give us a quick summary of, I know you have shared with me, again, a similar story about the '94 World Indoor Championship, where you almost got somewhat, politics almost got you out. I'm calling it politics because, so, but share with us in your version what you overcome, and how did you become the world indoor champion, the first world champion medalist for Jamaica ever?
Yeah, well, '95, it was a tough but successful year for me. The lady, my aunt, I grew up with my aunt. She got murdered, part of being in politics in Jamaica. In '94, I almost stopped competing in '94. We talk about the Commonwealth Game where I didn't run well there. I had a lot going on that summer because my aunt funeral and all that stuff. I went to trial that year. They murdered her 2 weeks before trials in '94, and I still ran and won trials. And I wanted to continue my career. And so '95, I dedicated that year to my aunt. I said, I'm going to do everything I can to be as good as I can that year. And I got there, we ran the rounds, we got to the semifinals, and I got bumped during the race. I took one step off the track. It wasn't my fault. I think it was the Italian guy that came over on me and bumped me. I took one step off the track, finished top two, made the final. They disqualified me. Jamaica protest, and they denied the protest at first. I left the arena, went back to the village, came back later on. I think Glenn Mills, or my agent, came to my room and said, hey, you're in the finals tomorrow. Get ready to run. You know, I'm going home like, you know, crying. I can't believe I'm not in this final. I made the final and they put me out this final. So long story short, they put me back in the finals, and I told my agent, my coach, I told everybody that was a mistake by them, because the other athletes are going to pay for this, because I'm going to win this final. And everybody was like, Clive, we just happy you were in the final. We were excited you were in the final. Jamaica was like, oh yeah, you were in the final. Hey, you can do anything in the final, that's great. Now I'm saying I don't want to do anything. I want the ultimate thing. I want the gold medal. I don't just want to get on the podium. I'm going to get the gold medal. I told them I'm going to get the gold medal. And I came up with a plan that night, and I went there and I put that plan in play. And, you know, the plan was to start kicking before anybody else would even think about kicking, which is 300 meters away from the finish line. And when I did that, I think all the athletes in the race thinking there's no way he's going to sprint 300 meter. The rest of the 300 meter, we're going to catch him. So, and they did come on the straightaway, but it was too late. I was across the finish line first with my hands up and, you know, excited so I can get to hear the Jamaican national anthem play.
Yeah, that got to be real big, Ian. The question that you have asked him early on, so his dream came true. He was able to hear the national anthem play. Yeah, you know, Eternal Father, bless the land. You know,
yeah, that's the song. You want to hear it?
Yeah, you know, so yeah, that's the song, man. And you know, I've been to so many championship, and I hear the anthem play so much time and so many times. I was able to hear it play as a junior, but you know, on the senior level, you know, I watched it and listened it, you know, to so many different moments. But you know, we all know the song, we all love it, you know. So that's it. So we're going to summarize. I want to talk a little bit about your coaching because I know we got to get that in before, you know, before the night ends. But just summarize the highlight of your career. When did you actually retire, and when did you realize, when you start to feel like your time was winding down? When did you start to feel like it's winding down?
Well, I actually, I guess, officially retired in 2004. Or it wasn't official, but it was like I got a coaching job, so I stopped running. I got hurt in 98, 97, 98, and I had a stress fracture in probably the worst place. They say that you could have a stress fracture, which was the top of my tibia right under your knee, which is where the bone is the thickest. And every time I took all these months off, I became a Olympic swimmer because I was in the pool so much, doing workout and recovery and rehabs and swimming. It became where each year, each season, I would run a little bit and this pain would come back and they couldn't figure out what it was. We went to all the specialists, diets, everything. It took all the thing for bone. I had a bone stimulator for a whole year, electrical bone stimulator strapped to my knee for a whole year. So it's just going through that. You know, when I was training at Lincoln, I was volunteering coaches. I was helping the team. You know, I never wanted to coach because I thought it was too stressful a job. I gave my coach too much stress. I never wanted to coach. So I said that was not a career for me. So, but when I moved to Rhode Island, in 2000 to train with Trinity Gray, which was a U.S. runner. He was probably 144 indoor at that time. He was a collegiate record holder at one point. And Nike wanted me to, you know, get a training partner. So I wound up going with him and Bob Rothenberg, who was his coach. And he told me that he was coaching at Brown, but he said if I come, he would retire and just coach me in Trinity. So I thought it was a great opportunity. So I went there, and I, you know, from that, I did some things that I never did in training before. And I don't know if some of that led to my injury, but I could never really get it back rolling. The Sydney Olympics in 2000. I came out, ran, you know, tried to run the qualifying time for the Olympic, but again, I got injured again right before that. So it was just 3 or 4 years. And then in 2004, because I was at Brown in 2000, I was also volunteered there helping the team. And then in 2004, the UConn coaches and the Rothenbergs are friends, and they start saying, well, who's helping these sprinters? Because UConn's, the Brown sprinters are getting a lot better. So they told him it was me, and, you know, he said he had a position open and a sprint coach position, if I can coach sprint. And they said, yeah, that's what he does here. And I started coaching at UConn. And that was my first paid coaching job. So I had 2 volunteer coaching jobs before. And then I just, you know, once I was at Brown, I just started liking it because I had nothing else to do. I didn't have a job. I was just training and I wasn't competing anymore. So I just took the job at UConn and started coaching there. So that's how the coaching started.
All right, awesome, man. So we saw that, yeah, you actually tried out for the 2000 Olympics, and I know that it's always good to go to the Olympics, but with injuries and stuff, I could understand that it's always frustrated. So
Yeah.
All right, Ian. We could talk. I'm with his coaching career, so you take it wherever you want to take it.
I just want to wrap up this first segment here. So what I want to find out that during your track and field career, if you could just go back to probably two major mistakes that you have made that may have cost you a race, something that you knew that, man.
Ian, could you repeat that? You froze a while ago. Could you repeat what you just said?
Yeah, I'm saying over your career path, could you recall like two major mistakes that you may have made that would have cost you a race?
Yeah. Major mistake I've made is the 93 World Championship. I should have went out just to win the race and not worry about being top two, just to win the race so I can make sure that I guarantee myself in the finals. And I think I was fit enough to do that, but I didn't do it. In college, the same thing happened to me my sophomore year when I went to nationals and I ran from the back and didn't make the finals. So there was a lesson, but my race is a thinking race. I don't know anybody that run a great 800-meter runner that is not a great thinker. And if for a moment in the race, if you turn it off for a moment, you could wind up losing a race that you should win.
All right. Over the same career path, two things that you would have been most proud of.
Oh, two things. Oh, God. Well, I'm definitely very proud of the fact that I did able to win a gold medal for Jamaica. That's probably a big thing. The other thing is for my coach at Lincoln University, very proud of the fact that he helped and guide me, and not just me, because a lot of people see me and they think, oh yeah, the guy from Lincoln that made the Olympic team, but I had so many teammates that turned out to be successful leaders in business and everything. And I'm proud that, I can stand up and shout from the top of the mountain that I had the best coach in the world, and not just for me, but for all my teammates, the ones that didn't make the Olympic team, because they're all successful. It's just a matter of what you look at success as. So.
All right, thank you, man. Thank you for sharing that part of your journey with us. So we're just gonna let Ian take it over to the coaching part of it, which I know you have some great athletes that's working with you. You're working with them because we can see the comments coming in, and I know when somebody put positive energy out there, that's what you get back, and everyone that's commenting is just positive energy. So we're gonna let Ian take this over.
Yep. I think Coach got some people working for him. Nah, I'm joking, man. You're getting a whole lot of love. You just got a lot of good things. So I know some of the athletes that's listening right now, they're probably gonna want to hear this part about the coaching, because they gotta listen to you. So my first question. Man, how being an athlete make you a better coach? In your opinion.
They say good athletes doesn't make good coaches. But I don't think that's necessarily true. I think the difficulty for a coach, for a great athlete to be a coach, is the difficulty is understanding that all the athletes that you coach is not going to be at your level, or they're not going to want the same achievement that you have. you have to let it go. You can't. When I first started coaching, my coach had to tell me this, like, I can't expect everybody to have my drive and my mentality and because I used to be like, that's so easy. Why can't you do that start? That's so easy to come out the blocks and do this and do. And, my coach said, just because everybody don't want to go to the Olympics, first of all, some of them know they can't go to the Olympics. So I think, being an athlete helped me because I can relate not only the fact that, because I think for some great athletes, they were great since came out the womb. It was great coming up as, little kids. I was not that way. So I know the struggle. I mean, I fought for everything I got. Even when they cheat me, I'm still fighting. So I think that's the difference. I think me having those experiences from not being good to being good, and from not getting the accolades right away, and just working, because constantly working to get good. I can pass those experiences on to my student athletes.
All right. I'm just going to say what Mr. Vic said. Well said, Worm.
But that's my name in college, Worm.
All right. So my next question is, what's the most difficult part of being a coach? Obviously, we know that we just talked about why you'll be a good coach as a former athlete. As just being a coach now, just in the game, what's the most difficult part for you in your coaching career?
Well, I'm gonna tell you this: just being the athlete with the experience of being to the top of the mountain, per se. I think a lot of athletes can benefit from that, and that helped me a lot because of the fact that I know that each athlete has their own top of the mountain. And that doesn't mean the Olympics, but each athlete have their own top of the mountain. And I need to figure out how to get them to their top of the mountain. And for me, the difficulty is when I have an athlete that doesn't realize that they have more. Like, it doesn't stop once we spend that 1 hour, 1.5 hours on the track. If you're trying to be good, it doesn't stop. It never really stops, because the great athletes, fear drive them. Fear of someone else is doing more than them. Fear that someone else is doing the same workout they're doing, but they're doing it at a faster pace. They're doing it at a higher intensity. That drive the great athletes crazy. So I think for me, the difficulty is having the athlete realizing their own potential and how we can optimize that potential. Not maximizing, because nobody knows what maximizing is. Bolt was looking back at people in the Olympics, and that means he could have gone faster. So nobody knows what maximizing is. Trying to get them to optimize their ability. And that's probably the most difficult thing for me, is to figure it out, each and every one, because it's not, one thing doesn't fit everybody. It's not one size for everybody.
Excellent. Well said again. So, Coach, with all of this stuff here, what motivates you now to be a coach? Since you're going to have to deal with different athletes, different personality, and it could get frustrated. But what motivates and drive you in the coaching business?
Motivate me and drive me. I like to do things that people think is impossible to do. I like to be the first at something. I like to do something that haven't been done before. I wanted to be Olympian from Lincoln. I wanted to be a national champion. I wanted to be a record holder. I wanted to be a Jamaican national champion. I wanted to do things that not a lot of people have done. I wanted to help UConn. I went to UConn because UConn didn't have a great tradition in track. And the old wise man said, if you build it, they will come. So I wanted to take an average athlete and see what I can do with that athlete. I am at Fayetteville State because Coach Turner started a brand new program here. There's no history here, and I wanted to try to get that national level here, something different. I want to be able to do something that other people think that cannot be done at a certain place or can't be done in a certain situation. And just the other thing that motivates me is just being able to have an athlete come in as a freshman, and when they leave me in 3 or 4 years, they're ready to take on the world. They're mature, ready to take on the world. That doesn't mean they're ready to go to the Olympics or but they're ready. They're leaders. They're going to become leaders, because when I left Lincoln University, I was a leader, and I think that's what my coach gave me, and I just want to give that back. I want to give that back as much as I can, and it doesn't necessarily have to take the elite to give that back. I just want to give that back to whoever is willing to take it.
Wow. Sound very interested. So all that stuff that you want to give back, what would you say your strengths are? You could name it 2 or 3. As a coach, I know as a businessman, I try to be very organized. I have to be. I'm very detailed because it makes me function better. But as a coach, you out there, what would you say are your top 3 strengths?
Hey, Wheatley, you're a former world class global athlete. Those are the same things. Those are the same things that make me. My thing is, I am very detailed, very organized. I spend time doing drills that I shouldn't spend time doing because other coaches skip by that. I want to make my athletes as efficient as I can. And I want to, try to learn as much as I can, biomechanics, science, physics. I learn as anything you can throw towards me with those, I'm in it. I'm all in because I want to know how to make the body move more efficient and better. So I think my strength is the detail. My strength is caring. Sometimes I care too much. A lot of people say that. Sometimes I care too much. My strength is caring. Sometimes I care so much that it actually get me in trouble because other people don't understand. Why would you care that much? And, I wasn't always this way. And again, you might hear me say this before, but this man, Cyrus Jones, he never gave up on me. And I gave him a lot of opportunity in college to give up on me. And if I feel like if I made it and it's one person stick behind me for me to make it, I'm going to stick behind all of my student athletes, even sometime when I shouldn't, for them to make it. And I think that's one of the things that probably anyone that know me, all my student athletes tell you, Coach T care. Coach T literally just cares about what we're doing, what we're going on, us being positive and us being able to be successful.
Awesome, man. And I'm going to sneak one more in. I love this segment of it here because, as I said, I know that especially being a coach, it's, being an athlete, it's always easy to talk about. There's so much thing. But what are some of your most outstanding accomplishments as a coach?
Hey, you see what's on the screen? One of my former athletes, that's a Big East champion, multi-time Big East champion, NCAA qualifier, 400 runner, Mandela Grace Folger, said, passionate, determination, and funny. That's me. You said, what is my
some of your accomplishment since you've been in the coaching, some of your major accomplishment?
Well,
are some of your things that you make you most proud?
Yeah, I think going from Brown to Ivy League school, I had a bunch of athletes that, no one thought that they could, do anything in the Ivy League championship. And we once I kind of start right in the program, we took a big step up. Then I went to UConn and I basically took what I got. I remember when I got there, I had one sprinter that I thought was decent enough to do anything, was April Garner. She wound up actually staying there after and running for the U.S. She ran on the circuit for a while as a sprint hurdler. for the U.S. She went to several U.S. championships, Olympic trials, and she stayed there and trained. She stayed at UConn and trained with me. But my first recruiting class at UConn, I had average sprinters that turned out to be All-American. We had 4x1 that All-American. Jesse Foreman, Trisha Ann Alton came in my third class. She ran for Jamaica. She ran a Jamaica World Junior team. She anchored Jamaica 4x1 at Penn Relays USA versus the World in 2014 that beat US in Penn Relays in the 4x1. Felicia George was in my second recruiting class. I must step back. I said April was probably, I had another athlete, Tamara Highsmith. Highsmith was probably one of the most talented athletes that I've ever coached at UConn. She came in with me. I didn't recruit her, but she came in with me. She was a triple jumper, hurdler. She did multi-events. She actually was on the U.S. Under 23 team. She got a bronze medal for the U.S. in the triple jump because she jumped almost 45 feet in the triple jump. So she was a big time jumper. She just didn't continue on to the next level. But being able to go there and take the average athlete and taking them to Oregon to the finals, or we went to nationals a couple times in Des Moines, Iowa, and Arkansas. We had an outdoor championship and indoor championship in Arkansas. And Felicia George is my first Olympiad. Trisha was my first national representative, global representative. But Felicia George is my first Olympian. Now she's a two-time Olympic finalist, and several times in the World Championship also. So I am, very proud of that. We also won a lot when I was at UConn. We won. George Mason, actually, your school and Georgetown had won 10 straight, I think in the 80s and maybe the 70s, the 80s, 10 straight IC4 ECAC championship. And we broke that at UConn. We won 11 straight ECAC championship when I was at UConn. We went from, when I got to UConn, the U.S., track and field, collegiate track and field vote every week. They have 130, they rank 136 university track and field each week after your competition, from indoor start to outdoor. We wasn't even in the top 136 when I got there. When I, by my fourth year at UConn, we was 13th in the nation. We was in the top 25 every week from 2007 all the way back to 2012-13 after Trisha graduated. So just being able to take a program like that and turn it around and make it, to the national, put it on the national scene was something I think for me, I'm very, very excited, very proud of. And I'm here right now with Coach Turner, and I'm trying to help her to do the same thing. But I think those are my biggest accomplishments, just taking those teams and being able to push those athletes to things that they didn't even believe they can accomplish.
Well, I could say that, man, I'm very inspired by just, even, I know you, but, it's always good just to hear what others got to say about you and just all the positive comment, man, and I'm hearing the passion coming from your heart. So over to you, Ian.
Okay, Coach. Now that you're getting all these athletes in, they're willing to come into your program. But for you, what is it that you want these athletes to take away once they join your program?
Well, once they join my program, I want them to take away doing something at a level that they couldn't even see themselves doing it at. I want them to take away from my program as being able to accomplish things that people would say that they can't do. I always tell my athletes that, when you're 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, you can listen to people and the people tell you what to do and you have to do it. when you 19, 20, 21 years old, those people that tell you you're going to be a failure, oh, you're just a little bad kid, those people have no control over your life anymore. You have control over your life now. So I always tell them, I want you to be in control of what you can accomplish. I'm just there to help you, to guide you, because I know the way, and I'm going to guide you to get that done, but you can do it. And every athlete that leave me, I want them to have no doubt about anything that they want to accomplish in their life.
Great. Quick one. What's a typical day in a coach life? It's, just for you, what's your day like?
Getting up, going to the office, training athletes, recruiting. It's similar every day, or most days, but there's a lot of different stuff that go on, because as a coach, you take on, if there's 50 people on the team, you take on almost all of their problems. So if there's somebody that have a problem with their family, if somebody ever sick, if somebody boyfriend did something to them, anything happened to them, it becomes your problem too. So you have to learn to be able to be flexible, deal with people, and not only and that works in training too. I think most successful coaches are the coaches that can learn to adjust. They know how to adjust. That's going to make you successful. Learn how to adjust. And for me, my day-to-day is like, I go in the office, say, okay, I'm going to call 4 recruits today. And I might wind up not calling any of those recruits, because somebody might wind up in the hospital or something, and I have to go to the hospital to visit them. I have to talk to their parents or something. So it's, their grades or something. So it's something different and exciting every day, although it's the same every day, because I'm going to the same place every day, see most of the same people every day. But is there something different every day? You cannot over prepare for coaching.
Okay. Next question here is, where do you personally go for inspiration when you're faced with challenging times, whether it be with the athlete or just trying to put together a contract with an athlete, whatever, the difficult things that you may face. But where do you go for inspiration when you say, man, that thing just didn't go right, or
Yeah, my inspiration is my college coach. Again, that's my inspiration. My pro coach too, because Bob and Han Rothenbergs, I speak to them a lot. First of all, they got me my first job. Well, they knew Coach Morgan, so that's kind of how that whole thing came along. So they are my inspiration too. But there's so many people. My teammates when I was in college are some of the greatest people, because they tell you like it is. If I was wrong or something going on and it's me, they'll tell me. They'll tell me it's me. They're so my teammates are my inspiration. My student athletes are my inspiration, because I want for them what they want for themselves and more. So they inspire me. But my backbone and stuff is my teammates, my former coaches, even Michael, even Mr. Carr in Jamaica. I still in touch with him when things not going right. I still talk to him about what I need to do and what I'm not doing. So
thank you very much, Coach. Very positive words right there. And not that they're just coming from you saying something. As Ian said, they're coming from deep down. They're coming from the heart. And as you speak, you're I'm not sure if it's your athletes or just some of them your friends, but there's full confirmation, that you are who you say you are. You do what you say you do. And Coach Jones, I just gotta give it up to Coach Jones, because Coach Jones is getting a lot of love here too. Turn it over back to Ian.
Yeah, man. Rick Della said in the last one or two question, this is something that I used to do. I know as a professional athlete, I pretty much journal. I don't know, your philosophy. Always important journaling journal is for your athletes in terms of do you keep a record of them, or you encourage them to journal, and how important is that?
Ian, that's not something I've ever really do, you know. I keep a record, but I've never have my athlete journal. That's not something that I thought, you know, is beneficial. And I don't know. I'm a type of person, I don't do what everyone else do, because I try to think beyond what maybe everyone else is doing. And if everyone else is doing it and I decide to do it, the reason why I decide to do it, even if I think it's not good, the old wise man say you can always pick some sense out of nonsense. And you know who the old man? Always you can pick some sense out of nonsense. So I'll listen to anybody. I'll listen to anybody. I read a lot. I watch a lot of videos. I have a lot of people that I turn to that I think that are smarter than me. But over the years, I become a mentor to people that's trying to get better in track and field. Young coaches or even older coaches come to me, convention. People have come to UConn to shadow me for days to figure out why my athletes are improving so fast. You know, I talk about my first class at UConn that I recruited was average sprinters. None of those young ladies was running faster than 12 seconds. And, you know, Jesse Foreman was as a freshman, winning Big East, my first Big East champion, my first NCAA qualifier at 4x1 with Jesse Foreman, Mandela, Trisha, Felicia, so but all those young ladies and all the people that I coach is all from me trying to be the best coach I can be, or being the best person I can be. Because sometimes it's just not being a coach, but being the best person I can be to inspire those young ladies. But journaling is not something that I've ever done, or I thought, hey, this is going to help you guys, so you should do it. Okay. It's not something I thought would help them. Yeah.
All right. Well, fair enough. So in terms of the mental coaching, what's your philosophy in the mental coaching part? I know that everybody got different analogy. Some coaches, but some athletes need more mental coaching. Some coach does mental coaching. What's your philosophy on mental coaching?
I believe every athlete needs mental coaching. I don't care how good you are. I think there gotta be some kind of mental coaching. No one born with a mind that like a steel trap, I would say. That you just can just lock in it. I think everyone needs some mental coaching. And sometimes people are getting mental coaching, they don't know they're getting mental coaching. But your physical is only as good as your mental, and the thing that you have that everyone else have that you can improve on even faster than the physical is the mental. So for me, I definitely believe in meditation. I have stuff that I do with my athletes before they compete, that they to meditate and get them in the right mind frame to compete at a high level, to not be distracted. And I think that's a great thing for every coach, every athlete. And I did that a lot, especially when I first started coaching, because I thought the athletes that I have, they're going to need more than just the physical coaching to get them to where I want to get them to, because coming out of high school, they're not the most talented or the most recognized or the fastest coming out of high school. So I had to do a lot of visualization. We do a lot of race modeling and stuff like that. So I think mental coaching is big, because again, that controls everything.
All right, awesome, awesome. So I know you're into the team stuff, and I know that there's a lot more collaboration. So I know you guys have success at Fayetteville State University. How do you? What was one of your big celebration? How do you celebrate the good performance for the team? For them when they do well.
Well, Coach Turner cooks for the team when they win. I've been here for 2 championships now because I came last fall and then we won the cross country championship. And Coach Turner is a big cooker, so she bring out all of the Jamaican food, curry chicken, jerk chicken, everything. And the Americans, I mean, we have Jamaicans on the team too, and the Americans, they love it. Everyone love it. The staff love it. People in the athletic department, because Coach Turner invite everybody to her cooking, first of all. So everybody love it. So that's one of the things we do to celebrate. I don't know, I am a little bit different as a coach. I am not I don't get too high. When I say I'm always looking at the next thing. I don't get too high with the performance or the thing. I'm excited. I get happy, but I'm always looking at, okay, you've done that. What next? I'm always that coach that looking at what next. Okay, that was great, but what next? What's the next step? What we have to do next? But we've like I say, at UConn we've won a lot of championships, and we did a lot of celebrating there. We didn't do the whole cooking thing because I wasn't cooking. We didn't do the whole cooking thing there, but we did a lot with the athletes. Them get together, we go to dinner, and of course you get them the rings and stuff like that, and the awards and stuff. But yeah, I'm always looking at the next thing.
All right, Clive. Man, it was a pleasure. This is my last question here. We should do a whole lot of. I should have done a program just on coaching. Because it's, as an Olympian and your legacy, it's, we could talk, on and on because there's so much to cover. But we're still happy for what we have accomplished tonight. But so when you got a freshman athlete comes in and when they're leaving as a senior, and they come, into your office and they come in, how you want them to remember you, on their senior year when they graduate, and I seen some of the athletes here, and I know you'll probably be proud of some of the things that they're saying about you. Most of them are saying that you're humble. Some of them are saying that, you dance, you sing, but how you want to be remembered, or how, from your perspective, what you try to get, how do you try to get them to see you and remember you?
Well, for me, I want them to remember me as someone that would never give up on them. First of all, when they're having struggles, someone that would just believe in them beyond sometimes even their own belief. For me, I want my athletes to take whatever they can get from me and use it in the real world. Because now my athletes from UConn would say I'm soft, but those guys, but I'm still tough enough to understand that my athletes one day is gonna leave the university and go out in the real world, and the real world is way tougher than I am, because nothing in life prepare you for anything that come along your way. I always say life is a bunch of sadness, and you have to make happiness. And I'm gonna give you a quick example of that. If you get out of your bed and you hit your toe on the bed and break your toe, you didn't want that to happen. If you go outside, you get in your car and you drive down the street, you have a car accident, you didn't want that to happen. But if you want to win the lotto, you have to play the lotto. They're not gonna bring you the money. So the things that you want in life, you have to make it happen. The things that life happen, and you just go along and create ways to be successful in life. So for me, I want the athletes to think of, Coach T would make an adjustment whenever things go wrong. It'll make an adjustment to help me to continue that life and being successful. So.
All right, man. Well said, guys. So, guys, you heard from the coach. Let me see, Coach T.
Yeah.
The we could, whatever Clive Terrelonge, again, he's a Hall of Famer. He's a former Olympian. He's a former professional runner for Jamaica. He's the history-making athlete. Now he's continuing his legacy as a coach. Now he's, joined force with another Jamaican 800 runner. They actually was on teams together. 94 at the Commonwealth Games, 96 at the Olympics. And I know that they are driven to bring success at Fayetteville State University. And I know this is a personal commitment that you guys are working on, because, you guys are taking a new program, and trying to build it, for you. And I give you a lot of credit for that, because everybody want everything to be perfect. They want the A-class facility, and, they want things easier. You got to, everybody, as I said, you start from the bottom. I mean, you pretty much has been to Ivy League school. You've been to Division I school. You've been to a Division II school. Now, you guys are a Division II now. Yeah. So you've been at Division III. So you coach at all three divisions.
Yeah.
And Division I, II, and III, you have coached at all of there. So you know all the pros and cons in terms of doing that. So, I personally is inspired by your story, and I'm inspired by what you guys are doing. I'm really hoping for things to come back together. I mean, as I said, we're not going to even touch on COVID, because I know this is going to be a whole other thing. I know you guys been things are a little bit different now, so you're going through coaching and just trying to make sure. Coaching is like trying to make sure everybody's safe and all that now. So we just, as I said, I personally want to thank you. I learned some things from you. I feel the passion. I really enjoyed the interview. And I personally want to wish you all the best, man. And I will, hopefully I'll be able to visit you guys' campus, and at some point soon. The final words, Ian.
Well, I think I'm gonna throw two questions in quickly at the end here.
Okay.
So, Coach.
Yeah.
All right. So for all the years, the medals and the awards that you have received, what would you say is your most pride accomplishment, or prize accomplishment to today's date, even up to just being a coach now? What would that be?
I think my most prized accomplishment, and that's a tough one. Being voted in the Hall of Fame at a young age, because when they called me, I was like, "Are you sure? Aren't you supposed to wait till the person retire?" And they told me, like, well, some people are special, so they get in early. I think so. Maybe that could be one, but I think the other accomplishment is probably being able to create something that people didn't think I could do, because I'm first of all, I'm an 800-meter runner, middle distance runner. I ran the 400 too, but everybody would say you are 800 runner. I would say I'm an 800 runner too. But being able to take sprinters and jumpers, because I coach the jump, long jump, triple jump, high jump, being able to take those athletes and have them reach their goals.
All right. Thank you very much. Last one is that with all the knowledge and experience that you have gained over the years, or through your career path, say someone tonight, one of your athletes, just somebody out there, just going through a difficult time or a difficult situation, what word would you give to such a person?
You talking about difficult time on the track or off the track, or
It doesn't matter. Just going through a tough time.
well, this too shall pass away. Tomorrow is another day, and once things that happen to you, once it happened, it becomes the past. That's why they call it the past. It becomes the past. If you hold on to it, it doesn't help you. So I would say the past, you have to learn to move on from the past, because there's things going to happen to you that you do not want. Like I said, life is a bunch of sad things, and you have to go out and find happiness. So if you hold on to that, then it will continue to drag you down. So I think my thing is just believe in there's a higher power, and then things happen for a reason. And you might not see it at the moment. You might not see it at the moment. Well, later on in life, maybe a year later, even a couple of years later, you might realize if that didn't happen, then this wouldn't happen. It's just like the World Championship in '93 that we talked about. That would have changed my career. I know that. Ian know that as a global runner. He knows that would have changed my career path, but I wouldn't be here probably doing this interview with you guys right now if that didn't happen.
Great. Man, I just want to say that you have brought a wealth of information here to the program this afternoon. I know a lot of the audience, whoever is on currently, would have been inspired. They would have been motivated. And there was so much information, educational information. I know everyone would feel fulfilled with your presence tonight. And for those that will be watching later on, I know that, man, they're going to look at this interview and say, hey, this man have run a great race, and to just know that you could come here and share your journey with us, and even to speak of your past, your present, and your coach, highly, and just to see how people speak highly of you. It represents in a way that we know that, guess what? You're a man of your true words, and you have everybody good at heart. So we just want to thank you from Ian and Ian. It was a pleasure sitting in with you for the past, I say, couple of hours, and we just want to say, man, just go out there and continue to walk in your greatness. And we wish you and your athletes all the best.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You guys are doing a great job, and I appreciate the time you guys spend with me tonight. I want to big up all my athletes, my former athletes, my present athlete, because without them, I wouldn't be on this program. My coaches, all my coaches that, from Jamaica, from I started in Jamaica all the way till stop running till I retire. I want to big up everybody, my teammates, my coaches, my former athletes, my current athletes, because all of them is on this program tonight. They're all on this program because I am here. They're all here tonight.
Yeah, man. I am very, very, very impressed, man. So big shout out to Zion Hill and Coach Michael Carr, and
Coach Mike.
And all of the, it's all a pleasure, man. All the same guy here, all the names, the roommates, and everyone that have support you, man. You're running a good race, and we keep in mind that there are plenty more to go, because I see you as a young coach, coaching. I mean, coaching pretty much, you could coach until you want to stop, so I wish you long success, endure in your coaching, and continue to help young people, their life, and inspire them, and just keep doing what you're doing. You're already doing it, so But we're glad you're giving back, man. Just keep up the good work. Stay safe. Take care of yourself. It's funny that we don't even know you look like an athlete still. We don't know what to do with it.
I can't run anything beside my mouth these days, guys. I have a pro athlete that I train now, and I tried to run stadiums with her. Last week she ran for the US, and she's here in Fayetteville training with me. I tried to run stadium with her last week. I could barely walk the next day. So it's in my mouth I can run these days.
Man, you look like 20 years ago, man. So I don't know. It seemed like you're eating right down there and sleeping, and you're dealing with these athletes stress and problems real good. Because I know that could take a toll. But whatever you're doing, keep doing it, because as I said, continue to inspire, man, and aspire. We know that that's your destiny. So we want you to share this knowledge that you have. I mean, it's just a blessing for you to be able to tell somebody some of the secret and some of the things that could get them better. Ain't that fun just to be able to do that?
It's so much fun. I get so much fulfillment of my athlete, and I'm not, any athlete will tell you, I'm not one of those coaches out there praising myself and my accomplishment. People talk to me for years and don't know what I've done. I've worked at Fayetteville State for a full year now. One of the secretaries that work with us just found out that I am a world champion, that I'm and she works with us. That's just not me. I want my athlete to succeed. I already did my thing. It's the past. You remember what I said? We gotten past that. It's my athlete time. So I'm not even out there pushing myself. It's them. It's about my athletes. It's about what they can accomplish these days. It have nothing to do with me. I'm just glad when they can see the success. I'm glad that I came here to Fayetteville State, and Coach Turner can take this team that just started, and I was here for 6 months, and we had 6 people at the national championship when COVID shut us down. And we won the CIAA championship by over, if you had all the points, by over 60 points. In a team, a brand new team with no seniors on the team and not a lot of top athletes on the team, because of the fact that it's a brand new team. There's no history there, and we can, in 6 months, we can do something like that. And Coach Turner been doing it for a long time with other teams. So I am excited about that every day, and that's it, man. That's what life is about right now.
Yeah, it's
blessings, man.
Yeah, blessings, man. It's a joy to work with a winning team, and you're on a winning team right now. You guys are going to go to places, So I'll be watching you guys on TV, seeing it, celebrating and cheer you on. I say, yeah, I know you. Anyway, have a good one, man. Take it easy.
Thank you.
Enough respect.
Be safe. Yeah, man.
All right, cool.